need to also be number 2. Sadie, you're number 2. Hold it up above your head really, really tall. You don't twist with it. Hold it really strong and look right there at that clock. Okay, put it down. Number 3, hold it above your head really quick. Okay, Adam, turn it up. Number 3. All right, I need Brianna. What number are you? Okay, put them down. Let me see number 4, people. Okay, that one you're going to have to hold in the middle because that one's hard. Now put them down. Now raise your hand if you don't have a number. Raise your hand if you don't have a number. Like if you're holding a sign and I didn't give you a number. Tori, what number are you? Ben, what number are you? 3. Does everybody have a number? Ashton, what number are you, baby? Okay, here's what we need to do. I need everybody to come in really, really tight when we talk to you. Everybody come in really tight.
It's fun to record teachers teaching. You know.
Okay, so on the hemisphere part, so who's singing that song? Who's singing this? I was you. Watch this. Watch this. So the words are, you will notice me. I'll be doing what we're doing. Maybe I'll write like maybe I'll paint like that. You're the cold. I don't know, but I'm ready to start. I don't know what I call the price.
I'm going to try to make it. It doesn't look like we're going to stop at all this week.
He should be. Okay, big lady, come up right here. As long as you're smiling. All right. Okay, everybody put your sisters on like that. Everybody smile, smile at the clock. Everybody smile at the clock. Your parents want to take pictures of you. Everybody smile at the clock. All right, take your signs, put them down, and make sure you got them to where you know how they're going to go, okay? Shh. Does anybody want to do this one? Does anybody have
wasn't it to be at the day?
Yeah, it's getting that way down. As long as they just come and it might be okay, sit where your feet are. Sit where your feet are. Perfect. Oh my goodness, don't forget. This is like really important that you don't talk. Connect. Tight. Remember, don't do that. Just when they get this out of
I know, but we don't need a bigger brain.
The Hoover Board of Education meeting is now called to order. If you choose to do so, please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
At this time, I'll ask for everyone to stand for our pledge. So we do pledge.
You have before you the agenda for today's board meeting. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The agenda is approved. We will now have a time for our recognition portion of the agenda tonight. We'll start off with some musical entertainment to celebrate a recent national announcement that Hoover City Schools has been named as one of the best communities for music education. Julie Feltham, principal at Shades Mountain Elementary. Yes, ma'am.
It is. We are so fortunate to be in Hoover. We have some awesome music educators who share their expertise, motivating our students with their passion and their love. Shades Mountain is blessed to be served by the skillful hands and voice of Lisa Latham. However, Mrs. Latham's service has not been reserved for Shades Mountain alone. She has been instrumental, and that's no pun intended, in helping build music programs at Berry, Simmons, Trace Crossings, and Glen. She is well recognized throughout our community and state. I stand before you tonight a very grateful administrator for the opportunities being provided by Mrs. Latham and her colleagues. However, in a few moments, you'll hear how students respond. Some of you who were here a little early have already been treated, but you will also know why I'm so very proud of my Mountaineers. Ms. Latham?
Hello, my name is Chase Polishowski, and we are the SMES Shades Mountain Elementary School Choir, and we will be singing I Was Here.
You will notice me. I'll be leaving my mark like initials carved in an old oak tree. Just wait and see. Maybe I'll ride like flame roads. Maybe I'll paint
girls, y'all did an excellent job, and thank you so much, and the parents for coming out on such a rainy evening. I really, really appreciate the board does also. Ms. Barber, are you here? Okay. Dr. Robbins. Dr. Robbins, principal of Berry Middle School, will share some good news about one of his students.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to recognize an outstanding student. If I could please have Anastasia Zellner, as well as her teacher, Miss Allison Parker, to come forward. As they do, I'd like to tell you just a little bit about the award that Anastasia has received. Each year, thousands of entries are entered into the Letters About Literature contest. It's a state and national contest, and is for grades 4 to 12. The purpose of the contest asks students to read a work, whether it be a poem or a book or a speech even, and then write a letter to the author of that work, sort of describing how that work has affected them personally. There are more than 69,000 entries nationally, 62,000 of which are eliminated after the very first round. I'm happy to report that our student, Anastasia Zellner, has placed second in the state of Alabama for her letter about literature. Congratulations, Anastasia. The entries undergo several different rounds. There are 2 rounds that happen even before a student makes it to the state level. The judges are authors, publishers, teachers, all sorts of professionals in the writing field, and so we're just so proud of Anastasia, as well as her teacher, Ms. Parker, for supporting Anastasia and all of her students in their entries. So here is your certificate. Congratulations, Anastasia.
Dr. Robbins, are the parents here?
Yes.
Will they please stand?
Mrs. Zellner, please stand. Thank you.
Congratulations.
It's about speaking out against the cancellation of classes last year.
Is Manette Wiggins in the room?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Dr. Dotson? Okay.
Manette?
Yes, sir.
Come forward.
Oh, Amanda? Amanda's here also.
Oh, Amanda. But no.
I just have to
She's probably having to build a boat.
Yeah, I was going back and forth.
Tell us about the boat.
Yes. We are so excited that Manette Wiggins is not only the Teacher of the Year for Trace Crossings, but she is in the Final 16 for Hoover City Schools.
For the state of Alabama.
For the state of Alabama, sorry. She actually has my son, wonderful teacher. Very excited that she's at Trace Crossings.
Ms. Barber, did you get caught in the rain? We just had
I had a PTO meeting.
that's okay. Okay, at this time, Mr. Don Hewlin, principal at Hoover High School. We couldn't possibly be honoring the basketball team.
A few tall people in the room.
Lots of tall
Short around here.
guys.
First of all, I'd like to start with one person who's not here tonight, too, but I wanted to recognize him because I think it's a great accomplishment. Daniel Phillips. One of our...
He's here.
Oh, I didn't see you. Okay, you snuck in on it. Come on up. Daniel had a tremendous accomplishment that we found this out, I guess, a couple of months ago, and this first time we had an opportunity in public to actually recognize him. Daniel, on his testing, standardized testing, the ACT, represented Hoover High School, obviously, and I'm very proud to say that he made a perfect 36 on the ACT. It's exciting for him. Not only is he an excellent student, he's just a phenomenal young man, and we're exceptionally proud of him at Hoover High School. So thanks, God. Congratulations, buddy. The next presentation, I'd like to recognize, and I'll call Coach Burkett up again. Coach, come on up. Coach Burkett is obviously the head boys basketball coach at Hoover High School, and it is a great thrill, especially for an old former basketball coach like myself, to announce and recognize these guys for winning Hoover High School's first ever boys basketball state championship and the first ever 7A boys basketball state championship in Alabama. Thank
you so much. On behalf of Hoover High School, our administrative staff, our coaching staff, we thank you so much for the wonderful support that you showed us throughout the year, not only in the final run, but throughout the year. I want to acknowledge my guys here. I think we have a couple that's still stuck in traffic, but 8 seniors we're losing.
You got a tough job next year.
If you can step out, let me acknowledge my guys. With the basketball right here, my assistant coach Marvin Smoot, first year. I need y'all to step out. I can't see you. Trent Hosmer. Trent actually played for me, and now it's his second year coaching for me. Scott Ware. Scott, this is his second year. Matthew Calhoun, senior. Sam Bowman, senior. Tavion Roundtree, he's one of the younger guys. Matthew Rickman's also a younger guy. Wes is a younger guy. Austin Cherry. I think Austin, I'm not for sure about the stats. He could have been our leading scorer. I'm not sure, but big part of this program. Keegan Eason. Keegan joined us this year. He's a junior, so he's back. Brett DeFore, he's a young guy. And Maurice Brown, senior, just walking in. Leonard Wood, senior. Leonard was a part of the championship football team also. And Dylan Smith, senior. That's where between him and Austin, our leading scorer. But we want to thank you so much. It was a roller coaster ride, but at the end of the day, these guys came to play, and we're just so happy for all of our past players and coaches who tried to get this done, but this is for everybody. Thank you.
Hey, how are you?
I'll continue on too, and I know we got a lot on the agenda tonight. If I could have Coach Devin Hine come up, please. Yeah. And it just keeps getting better for us at Hoover High School. Obviously, earlier in the year, our indoor girls track team also had a great meet over at the Crossplex, and I'm not sure how many indoor state championships this is. It's a lot, but they all are great. I love them, and it never gets old. So I'd like to congratulate Coach Hine, and he has some of his ladies with him tonight. The 7A state championship girls indoor track team. Coach.
We couldn't bring everybody. We have about 40 folks on the team. These girls worked out yesterday so that they could be here and not miss a workout. This happens to be our 4x800 relay team that was the state champ. We just got back from Los Angeles late last night where they represented Hoover High School, ran the 4x8, broke our school record while we were there, and they are currently ranked 11th in the nation. We're loaded with talent. Presley Weems, she is a junior. She was the state 800 champion this year, besides being on the relay team. And then Sydney Steele was also a state champion in the 400. And then I think we had 3 other state champions out of the, I think there's 14 events. So we had about 6 out of the 14 events we took home state championships. We went out to Los Angeles to highlight our girls' hurdle team. We have our shuttle hurdle relay team that set a national record indoor last year. And we graduated 2 girls, but they ran at the Hoover Relays this year, and I looked at their time. I thought, that's awful good. We need to try and see who else they can race. So we went out to Los Angeles. I didn't realize it, but when they announced our girls at the line, they announced that we had the leading time in the nation so far in the shuttle hurdle relay, and then we went on to win that race out in Los Angeles against the best in the nation by 3 seconds, lowering our best of the nation by a second and a half. So. We've got a lot of talent on our team, and I guess the proudest moment of this whole weekend, just to brag on Hoover and how we're spreading good news about Hoover High School throughout the country, not just track, but all organizations. In Dallas, I was in the airport, and I was with Micah Bagley, and he had a medal strapped to his backpack that he had won out there, and a guy came up to him and said, oh, that's pretty impressive, you got a medal at Arcadia Invitational. And so we started talking to him, and I asked him what he ran. He told me a couple races, and he said, what did y'all run? And I started naming a couple races. I said, well, we brought a 4x8 team, the shuttle hurdle team. He's like, you're Hoover. Now, I didn't have any Hoover on. Micah didn't have any Hoover on. He said, you're Hoover. Boy, you all showed up out in California. Y'all looked impressive. So I was most proud of that he recognized us when I just started naming a few events. And he's from New Jersey, and he knows all about Hoover High School. So very proud of how our athletes represent us throughout the country. Thank you.
And then finally, if Coach Meyer-Miles could come up, please.
Don Hewman, Xavier Weems is the principal at Deer Valley, is one of her.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, the question I have, the athletic talent came from
Me.
Okay.
We know the speed did.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
speed did for sure.
Many of you know Coach Myra Miles. I've had the opportunity to work with Myra for the last 7 years at Hoover High School. Just a tremendous, tremendous person. And I had the honor of being able to be part of a great ceremony before spring break down in Montgomery. And such a fitting honor for Myra. She was inducted into the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame. And a tremendous, tremendous opportunity award for her, because I think there's 130 total in the whole state that have been inducted into that Hall of Fame. So if you would, please allow me just to read my recommendation letter for her as we sent in for her to be part of that new class of Hall of Fame members. During her tenure at Hoover High School, our school won 18 state championships in a variety of sports under the tutelage of Coach Miles. Throughout her career, Myra's success as an outstanding educator, coach, and administrator is a direct reflection of her character, leadership, and dedication to success in providing each student the greatest possible educational and athletic opportunities. She's a great representative of our school, our state, and her profession. Myra is dedicated to accomplishing the greatest possible benchmarks of academic and athletic excellence at Hoover High School. She's always willing to go the extra mile in promoting leadership, discipline, communication skills, team building in our school. She's an athletic administrator who blends traditional and innovative cutting-edge methods in promoting all athletes and all of our programs. She has transformed all of our programs into nationally recognized models of success. Her unwavering dedication to serve all students promotes athletic success for the full spectrum of teams under her direction. And finally, her passion for Hoover High School athletics is evident by the results we've achieved under her guidance. She has been invaluable to me personally in guiding Hoover athletics under my tenure as principal. Myra has changed the lives of numerous students throughout her career as a teacher and a coach in schools across Alabama. And quite simply, she is just a winner. And we are very, very fortunate to have had Myra Miles at Hoover High School. Congratulations, Coach.
I'm just honored to be here. When they called and asked would I come back, I was like, of course I'll come back. Give me a chance to get to come back to Hoover. I actually have made the move already in my new job, but I can't say enough about this school system. But the time that I had at Hoover High School was time that I will never ever forget. But like tonight with the coaches and their kids and working for a guy like this right here and a board like you guys has meant more to me than I can ever tell you. It's a great system. So I'm just blessed, and I thank you. And if you need fireworks, I'm the one to call. Thank you very much.
Okay, at this time, is Sarah Womack, is she here?
Yeah.
Okay, Sarah? Last but not least.
Okay, I'm Sarah Womack, the music teacher at Greystone Elementary, and on behalf of all of Hoover's music educators, I want to thank you for your support of music education. For the third year in a row, the National Association of Music Merchants has named Hoover as one of the best communities for music education, and you saw, earlier the benefits of that. I'd like to take a moment and share what it means for Hoover to have strong music programs at every level. Music education has a positive impact on learning. It enables better education for students academically, as well as socially and developmentally. Music education makes schools better. Schools with sequential and standards-based music education with certified music teachers have higher attendance and graduation rates, as well as a more creative and innovative culture and climate. Music education keeps students engaged. But music education's benefits go beyond school. It makes better employees and citizens. It teaches cooperation, discipline, creativity, and innovation. Dr. Reese and board members, thank you for helping us orchestrate success for Hoover students. I'd like to present you a certificate that reads, "The NAM Foundation salutes Hoover City Schools for outstanding support of music education, enriching the lives of children and advancing student achievement." I know we have a bunch of music educators here, so if you are a music teacher, if you'll come up.
Ken Jargon, you should probably be up here.
Congratulations. Thanks again. Thank you all. Thank you.
Well, we could just stop right now and be done with the board meeting tonight. This is awesome. Awesome. Okay, you have the minutes from the regular board meeting of March 9th, 2015, and the called board meetings of March 6th, 16, and 26, 2015. Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The minutes are approved. Next is the personnel report. Any questions for Ms. Field?
Ms. Bill, a while back, we were recruiting bus drivers. Has that calmed down? I see we have 3 or 4 there right now. We're trying to hire. Is it due to retirement or what?
Yes, we've had a few retirements at that time of year. You probably noticed almost all of the additions were resignations.
Okay.
Several of those were retirements, but as far as staffing with our drivers, we're doing very well.
Okay.
What about custodial positions and all the relocations?
We're moving along with that. We'll have, we had several in temporary positions, so,
Seemed like a mass exodus almost, maybe 6 of them. Not so bad. Did the supplemental agreements get included?
yes, you should have copies of those.
Any other questions for Ms. Field? If not, do I have a motion to approve the personnel report?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The personnel report is approved. Next is the business items. Any questions for Ms. Ante? If not, do I have a motion to approve the business actions?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The business actions are approved. Okay, we need to revisit the 2015-2016 school calendar regarding a revision. A flex teacher workday was inadvertently omitted from the original calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the calendar?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The revised school calendar is approved. We have a number of bids tonight to consider for approval. The first is the Hoover High School band uniform bid. Do I have a motion to approve?
Can I ask a few questions?
Sure can.
Ms. Andy, I think it was May of last year.
Right.
We bid Spain Parks uniforms. Fred Miller at that time was included in the bid, and they submitted no bid as they did this time.
Right.
Is there someone else we could entice to bid that might be interested in our money?
Not to my knowledge. I queried both band directors, and these were the major three providers within the market. But we did call Fred Miller and contact them, and they chose not to bid.
Are they local?
Mr. Fitzpatrick, do you want to come up and talk a little bit about the program, or you're fine?
Would y'all like to see the uniform?
Yeah.
Yes.
You want to try it on?
This is the uniform that was bid. It's a very nice uniform, and if it lasts as long as their last one did, because I think the last one's almost 10 years old, it went to march in the Rose Bowl parade way back when. We'll be well served by that.
My understanding, the program is growing every single year.
Yes, sir. We have very large numbers currently in our middle school, and this is the next year where they're about to hit the high school program, and we are going to grow substantially. In the next 4 years, we can see a growth of somewhere between, it's really hard to say until it actually happens, but conservative estimates would be anywhere between 30 and 50 students larger each year successively. 4 years from now, we could be the largest marching band in the state of Alabama. And I didn't say high school. Largest marching band in the state of Alabama.
You could pay me $20 for this question after it's all said and done.
Yes,
Do you have enough room at Hoover High School to sustain a program like that?
No, sir.
But would you speak to the vendor issue with
Certainly,
production of
certainly.
uniforms?
Fred J. Miller is a national company, and they do, I feel kind of silly pulling on a uniform.
Mr. Sweeney will try it on there.
Perfect. No, Fred J. Miller is a national company, and basically their business model is that they don't necessarily bid on invitations. They enter into contracts with schools who want to do business with them and proceed forward with the whole process as the directors of those specific programs have asked them and have gone towards using them specifically. Whereas a company like Fruhoff or Stanberry or DeMolin, they will bid if the bid invitation is extended and they feel like they can offer the product at a competitive price. A lot of times they see the product, they are aware of what it's going to cost to be able to jump in and offer, extend a bid, and business model decides, well, hold on.
Go ahead. We're talking about space utilization, and I think following your bailiwick as well. At what point where's the tipping point in terms of band program growth? I mean, clearly music is super important, and there's so many kids involved in this thing, and we don't want to disappoint anybody but virtue.
Yes, sir. Right now, the infrastructure of our band program at Hoover High School is pretty much geared to accommodate the size of the band as it has been the last decade, which has been somewhere in the neighborhood, I include auxiliaries as well, that 250, 270 range. We've been rather consistent in that now for quite some time, and accordingly that's how many lockers, and instruments, and space that we have available. And so as we grow now successively each year, we're going to be burdened to try and, I mean, it's a good burden to have, but at the same time, we don't have enough lockers. We're already doubled up in some areas. We don't have enough school-owned instruments for those larger instruments like tubas, baritones, and percussion and such. So, we're just trying our very best to make sure that we're prepared. This uniform is really the key component of making sure we're prepared for what's to come in the near future.
Are you buying extra uniforms?
Yes, ma'am.
You
Yes.
do?
What we're doing is we're purchasing enough uniforms that we're going to be able to sustain the growth that we foresee in the next 4 years.
Can you answer one final question for me?
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between a tuba and a sousaphone?
That's a great. Now we're asking the right question.
It's like buffalo and bison.
Exactly. Tomato, tomato. No, this tuba is the brass bass instrument of the band. Whereas the sousaphone is the exact same instrument in terms of the role it plays, but it is specifically designed for marching, in that it wraps around and is carried on the shoulder. So it really fills the same role musically, it's just ergonomically designed to fit the marching application rather than the inside concert application that the tuba uses.
So it's not plastic or brass kind of thing?
Well, actually, you can get a plastic sousaphone. They don't sound so good. John Philip Sousa would not appreciate that at all.
Are you trying to join a band?
We got a spot for you.
He just likes to toot his horn.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't bring my cymbal with me.
One other thing, this is not necessarily marching band related, but I believe you had a percussion group that competed several weeks ago and placed very highly in.
That's right. We had an indoor percussion ensemble that competed a couple weeks ago in the Southeastern Circuit, and the championships were held up in Tennessee, and they won first place in their division, the indoor scholastic open category. So very proud of them. Very, very proud. And Mr. Fondren, the percussion instructor, is instrumental in making that happen. Again, no pun intended. The gentleman that was recognized earlier for a perfect 36 on the ACT is also one of the Hoover High School Band drum majors, and one of the 8 members who made the All-State Band will be participating in Mobile this week.
My last question, I mean, it may take all day to answer this, so just sum it up.
It's hard.
From the award standpoint between the jazz band to the marching band, the symphonic, the whole 9 yards, can you go over at least 5 different categories of things that have been accomplished over the last year or so?
Yes, sir.
Which is challenging.
It is.
Take away from something.
We really try and focus in on a very well-rounded program, and we're very proud that no matter what aspect of the program you look at, students are working hard and giving of themselves and achieving a high level of success. You know, we've had, like I just said, our indoor percussion ensemble achieving great success. Our marching band this year was the first marching band from the state of Alabama to ever be a finalist in 2 BOE events, which is Bands of America, in the same school year. Our symphonic bands have the longest streak of consecutive superior ratings for 3 concert bands in the state of Alabama, which we have held this year. And our jazz band was invited to the Loyola Jazz Festival in New Orleans about 4 weeks ago and received superior ratings, and from both, not just the top band, but the top band and the second band. Our Winter Guard just went and got 2nd place in their category in the competition in Chattanooga. So, I mean, whether you're looking at inside, outside, the students are working hard. They're doing a tremendous job. They're excellent academic students as well as music students, and we're just really proud. It's an honor to get to work with them every day. It's exciting.
Is Ohio State the greatest marching band in the country right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, they're pretty good. They really are exciting because in their halftime shows they're doing this neat choreography and this animation, which is really cool, and it is pretty exciting to see. But you know, I'm an alumnus of the University of Alabama, so I really can't say that out loud. Yes, sir.
What is your opinion of the Enterprise High School band?
These are loaded questions. No, the Enterprise High School band is
Ryan, you have a phone call.
Tag, you're it. No, they're a very fine band. Very fine band. Now, I'm a good friend with Rob Rice, who was a part of that program.
Do you know Charlie Ford?
I do know Charlie Ford well, yes.
Did you know he's retiring?
I did not know that.
Well,
Don't go there.
Don't go there.
I think we need a motion.
Mr. Presley, Ryan and I did, the band directors do provide me with the names of who we solicit bids from. And when we were anticipating that Stanberry would bid on this, they bid on, both DeMolin and Stanberry bid on Spain Park's bid last year. When we did not receive a bid from Stanberry, Mr. Fitzpatrick and I went back and compared pricing on like items between the Spain Park bid from last year and this bid, just to make sure that we felt like we were getting fair pricing on this bid, because with only one bidder, we could have rejected the bid. But we thought after careful consideration and looking at the different elements that were in this uniform compared to the Spain Park uniform, that we were still receiving very fair pricing on the uniform itself.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions, comments regarding the Hoover High School band uniform bid? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The Hoover High School band uniform bid is approved.
Ms. Frazier, as part
Yes,
of the
sir.
minutes, could we reflect the statements that Ms. Ante just made about double checking the pricing since it was just one single bid? I think that's really smart that she did that, and really important that the minutes reflect how conscientious we were about assessing the price.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from the fact, my understanding, the band has several fundraisers and they help purchase these uniforms as well. I don't know the percentage, is that correct?
It's a combination.
Combination of the two.
Combination of efforts.
John Lotta, Robin Schultz, would you like to have a seat? Come on in. Come on in. Okay. Our next bid is our child nutrition program equipment bid. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The CMP equipment bid is approved. Our next bid to review and approve is the waste management and recycling bid.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Any concerns on the fact that they're 16% less than the next bidder?
No, they are existing vendor. They're doing our trash pickup now, and when I look back at what we've been paying in past years, they're comparable with the service levels that they've been providing in past years at this price.
Any other questions, comments regarding the waste management and recycling bid? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
Move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The waste management and recycling bid is approved. Our final bid to consider is a musical instrument bid. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The musical instrument bid is approved. We have several items that need to be deemed as obsolete items. Do I have a motion to approve? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The obsolete items are approved. Next is the data governance and use policy. Brian Phillips, are you here?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. Brian Phillips, Technology Director, presented the proposed policy at the February board meeting. Are there any questions for Mr. Phillips?
It's my understanding on this technology policy concerning data governance and use, you kind of plowed new ground, didn't you? I mean, is anybody else in the state who's done this, or?
We're ahead of most people right now. Most districts are working on theirs now. We've gone through, since September, creating ours. We'll be the first ones to approve it, yes.
So we pay for everybody else's?
Some say, well, a lot of other districts are out there with us. We're just getting to the table before everybody else.
Are you okay with the fact that we had it done locally in-state, didn't have to go outside the state?
I'm okay.
Are you comfortable enough with it?
I am, yeah. After we've looked at it really carefully the past month and went through every little bit, you're actually only agreeing on the policy, which is just 2 paragraphs. Procedures themselves can change some, and those procedures will change depending on what software it is. But it's all public faced. It's that website's been up since this February meeting, and we've had no contact from anyone. No one commented at all on it. So,
can you give us a couple of examples, 2 or 3 examples of things that might fall under this that we would not, as common person on the street, be aware
all
of?
registration data would be the most important one. I mean, every student goes through the registration process at InfoSnap. So every bit of your demographic information for a student or a parent at that point, the whole household would go in. So this policy would protect all that data. Credit card information, information that has to do with student grades, attendance, anything covered by FERPA pretty much is covered here.
Mr. Phillip, been a lot of press lately about charter schools, and most recently charter virtual school was defeated, which I think was very good. And there's another bill I think that does favor our situation. You got any, can you speak at all on where we are with our virtual progress? Not speaking of the codes, but within what we have now.
Yeah, Ms. Lane's been working directly with that. We're looking at numbers now. We have classes ready. We're looking at what the current changes from last Thursday the State Department passed down and what those look like and what that'll do for numbers. I would say next board meeting we could have some numbers of what that'll look like.
Okay. You think that everybody got hung up on the virtual class thing from an internal vendor perspective? Do you think internal to Hoover doing virtual coursework, more expanding what we've already done is perhaps even the secondary benefit of space utilization, if you will?
I know other schools in the state have done that. You know, for example, Florence, that was their big deal, was they didn't have a place to park all the kids. And they created for that, and then it turned out to be a great thing because those kids who were in the music industry and everything else in those fields, they could go take their core class work at night. In the daytime, they could actually go and do work in the field they plan to working on. So, yeah, that's one plus. You know, Hoover High's kind of packed right now, so that would be a good thing there. Spain Park's expanding this year, more classes there, so we'll know more. They're picking courses now. Kids are picking courses now, so we'll know more after that.
You also have the advantage of being, if you don't have enough students for a class, for example, Spain Park and Hoover, you can combine the needs where you can take advantage of an instructor and then a virtual course to complete that curriculum.
Exactly. One teacher could cover 20 kids from one, 10 of the other, whatever it took.
Okay. Thanks for what you're doing.
Any way to export any of this virtual classroom business to, let's pick a county, Greene County as an example, has.
The state's done that over the past few years with Access. Yeah, it's the same idea. I think you get into payroll issues at that point. I wouldn't know, but you know, who paid who for what teaching, and be a lot bigger than me at that problem.
It's my understanding if the state approves what you're doing, then the funding goes with it. It's if it's a meaningful course, then the funding follows. We're not trying to get students out of the district to take part, but if it's a proper curriculum, which you've done, then the credits and the funding is all there.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
So basically, all I need from the data governance is to approve those two paragraphs.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Do I have a second? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The data governance and use policy is approved. Information reports. Dr. Reese?
We have Mr. Darrell Skipper here tonight. Mr. Skipper, he has prepared a report about the Hoover School circulation study. Mr. Skipper, appreciate you coming tonight.
Glad to be here. The effort, again, I'm Darrell Skipper with Skipper Consulting. My office is here in the Birmingham area, and I've been practicing traffic engineering, transportation planning now for like 40 years. One of the specialties of what we do is working with colleges and school systems in their campuses, helping develop them, determine how the circulation patterns should operate. Fortunately, we're involved in a lot of new construction around the state. We're currently working with New Austin High School, New Decatur High School, Auburn High School, Opelika High School, and several other new facilities, as well as going into existing campuses that are having operational problems due to growing pains and helping them resolve them. A good example is the Brubaker campus down with the Montgomery School Board, where I have 4 schools on one campus and one access to the campus. So that's been an interesting adventure. This is a summary sheet. I think we had all of you have a report, a copy of the report, full report. This is a little brief summary sheet. And by the way, I can attest that your band program is growing. One of the assignments we pulled this past year was doing the, Hewitt-Trussville had a new stadium to open this year, and we were blessed to have Hoover as our first game. And we were handling the event traffic handling for that. First of all, you brought way too many band member buses, and then the auxiliary vehicles with that, with the equipment, the materials and all, there was a lot more than we could handle, so we had to make a lot of adjustments on the fly. We'll be visiting you next year, and the year after we'll have you back out there. We'll be prepared for that. We'll have plenty of room for you, okay? This study was basically to answer a question. What if you do eliminate busing from the Hoover system? What impact does that have on the school campuses as far as traffic circulation? This was a question that was posed to us back in the fall of 2013. We were authorized by the board to begin right after the 1st of October in 2013. Now, I know you're saying, okay, it's April 15th, what's going on? Well, the board had made a decision at that time to basically suspend the busing or consider suspending the busing. Later on in 14, the board did say, well, we're not going to suspend the busing. At that time, Mr. Craig put us on basically a hold. Said, okay, we're just going to hold the project. And Mr. Reese, back a few weeks, this was an open-ended project. It was we had not completed it. He said, well, at least need to complete this and give the board the benefit of what we were finding, so that if decisions like this have to come up in the future, the input will be to the board and they can use that as reference. So that's what we're talking about here. And originally what we had talked about doing, we have 16 campuses, and we were going to just study the campuses that had 5+ buses that transported students on a daily basis, which meant 12 of your campuses. You had 4 that were 4 and under. In looking at the effort it took for us to gather the data for those 4 schools, we just went ahead and decided to do a more detailed assessment of those campuses. And as it turned out, it was the right thing to do because there were some impacts on those that you need to know about. So there were 16 campuses, 10 elementary, 1 intermediate, 3 middles and 2 high schools, 16 total campuses. At the time, 2013, you had just a shade under 14,000 students in your system. And of that 14,000, about 45% were being transported by bus, or just a shade under 6,300 passengers per day. Students per day. It means you were picking them up, taking them there, then you were picking them up, carrying them home again. So we, in essence, carry over 12,000 passengers per day. Mickey Hall, who's our Director of Transportation Planning, is here with me, and he was a project manager here. But we've been involved in developing the transit system for the University of Alabama, Auburn University, Jacksonville State, and University of North Florida. And you are carrying about what the University of Alabama is carrying every day on their bus system. So it's kind of the equivalent. You're actually transporting about twice what Jacksonville State is transporting on a daily basis, about twice what University of North Florida, to give you some sense of that. Just to break it down, the elementary schools you were transporting in this fiscal year, about 39% of the students were being bused in your elementary schools. The intermediate schools, 67%. The middle schools, 68%, and that was the highest group. High schools, 34%. So the elementaries are in the below 40. The intermediate and the middle schools are above 60, and then the high schools below 40 also. The lowest number of students being transported were Green Valley Elementary, so you only transporting 8% of those students. But if you look at its setting with the neighborhood, the community around it, it makes sense. The largest number of, the campus with the largest number of students being bused was Berry Middle School, which has 74% of all of its students being transported, which is a pretty high number, a very high number. One of the things that we found, if you eliminate a bus, it takes 24 cars to replace it. We're getting about just a shade under 2 passengers per vehicle if a parent is bringing them through carpooling and things like that. So if you eliminate a bus, It's about 24 cars. That 24 cars, if I stack them up in a single line on a campus, it takes about 600 feet to do that. That is two football fields, if you think about it. That's what that equates to. Also, when I put more cars there versus buses, that means the amount of time it takes for you to deliver, to go on campus, carpool, and leave or clear the campus, particularly in the afternoon. I've got more vehicles to contend with. It's going to take longer to empty the campus. It's going to take, on average, about 50% more time to exit the campus in the afternoon than it does today, just because you got more vehicles to deal with. As far as the amount of stacking that you need on campus, and there's a phenomenon that's prevalent in the South, and Hoover is not unique to that. In the afternoon, at our elementary and middle schools, we have, we have social hour where people show up, show up about 1:30, pick up children at 3 o'clock and after. And you go to any elementary, intermediate school, or any middle school, and you can see it anywhere in the state. That presents us some real problems. Because what we try to do, we try to make sure if we're stacking cars that we're getting off the public road and trying to accommodate that on campus, on the school campuses. Now, what is significant about that when you look at going from carpools and busing to just carpools is you have to remember that each of your school campuses was set up, the circulation plan, to accommodate carpoolers and buses. Not one or the other, but the two, combination of the two. I did Hoover High School, it seems like forever ago, and as you notice, we have carpools on one side of the building, we have buses on the other side of the building, and that's generally what you do. You try to divide them so that the two aren't crossing. So we found that of the 16 campuses you have, 12 of them would require some improvements on site to accommodate the additional vehicles that are stacking and the additional carpoolers. In some of the instances, you would have to utilize the bus loading and unloading as well as the carpool loading and unloading, and continue to do loading in both locations, which means in elementary school you've got to split the grades, say certain grades go to a certain area of the school, certain go to the other. So that becomes a logistical issues that you've got to deal with. 6 of your schools would have fairly significant impacts on the streets and the neighborhoods that surround the school. In other words, we couldn't accommodate all of the vehicles stacked, waiting to go through carpool without it spilling off the campus into the adjoining streets and neighborhoods. By far the greatest impact we have are that middle and intermediate school traffic at those campuses, those 4 campuses you got. Those are the ones that are the greatest. Berry High School by far is the greatest, has the most impacted area when you convert it. The reason it's so great, the reason I categorize it as the worst, is because it's immediately adjacent to Spain Park, and to accommodate Berry, I've got to almost lock down the roads around Spain Park, and so that can't happen. What you need to make sure that you do, our recommendation, is use this information in any decisions you might have. Certainly, if you're looking at this issue in the future, is take a look at each individual campus and see how we could accommodate that, roll that cost and that effort into your decision-making process, because there will be a cost associated with it, either to you or to the city or to some jurisdiction that is responsible for the roads and streets. That is very quick and dirty.
What about Hoover High School? I know you've got a line item on here that just says Hoover High School would require off-site improvements.
Yeah, when we originally did the planning for Hoover High School, we recommended 2 accesses to Hoover High School. One directly over, that was built over to, that's built today. The other, we recommended a northern access up what is the alignment of Morris Springs Road up to Highway 150. That was not done. It was expensive to do it at that time. I've taken a look at just as you did the elementary school there, it was a single access. You've now got another access that empties into the parking lots at Hoover Met. You can accommodate a lot of storage that way and additional access. There are two opportunities I think that are reasonable to look into that. Some of the others are not reasonable. You know, crossing the river going over Alabama Highway 261 is not reasonable because that doesn't access much of your district. It doesn't do you any good. It just puts a lot of miles on everybody. There is currently the alignment of Mars Springs Road has a golf cart path on it that goes up and hits Hunter Street. That is a corridor that could be developed as a driveway, and if you do that as a driveway for the school, you've got to have a cross-access easement with Hunter Street, but also I would suggest that be a driveway that's gated up there at the church so it is not accessible during the entire day. That is one way to do that and get you an additional access. Maybe run buses that way. I don't know that. We didn't get that far into it. Rich just asked me to take a look at possibilities. The other one is just south of the Hoover Met. There are some streets with businesses and industrial uses on them. There's some public streets in there that we could hit. However, the terrain is pretty tough to get you over there. So, but that's the reason Caterpillar is in business, to move dirt. So,
Mr.
but
Skipper, what was the reasoning when the school was built not to go ahead and put the second drive in Mars Hill?
The only thing I remember back then, it's been a while, is that it was costly. But at that time, there was no housing in Stadium Trace at all. It was just all rural area out there.
When you initially did this analysis, you based it off on, correct me if I'm wrong, no buses being here. Is there immediate needs right now, even with a flat population growth of our students, not growing at all, that some of these footprints need some attention right now?
Yeah, what y'all been able to do, and good example, Green Valley Elementary. What y'all are doing at each campus to accommodate your carpoolers is you're trying to accommodate every square inch of asphalt you have that's off the street. So what you're doing is, like in the parking lots, instead of just going up and looping in front of the school, what you're doing is you're going through and you're kind of serpentining through the parking lots to increase the stacking area that you've got. That's very common in what you're doing. So you're utilizing all you can use. Green Valley is one of those. If you have much growth there, you run out of parking lot already. You're going to need to add some more parking lot. So y'all are accommodating by doing things like that. Simmons, you're using the parking lots already. Gwen, you're using the parking lots already. I know we took a look at that with the road improvement over there to make sure that we actually get a little bit more storage area off site by that project over there. But to answer your question, you're milking it for about all you can milk it, and there are some situations, if you see you're going to have any substantial growth in your system, you need to take a little focused look at that.
What most school systems are running into, Mr. Skipper, is the cost of transportation versus what you have explained tonight about the problems with the traffic circulation. And that's a dilemma that I think a lot of school systems are in. That's it. I mean,
we're busing more people now, children now, than we've ever bused in this state. I know in Montgomery they have a minority majority system down there, and they're transporting probably 5 times as many children and clocking probably 5+ times as many miles per student than we ever have before. So it's becoming a burdensome cost, not just to Hoover, it is to every system in the state. It takes a lot, particularly with the type vehicle we have to have in meeting all the requirements of all the users to our vehicles that are picking up students and delivering them.
well, I know, for example, another problem is finding bus drivers, too, ones who have their CDL, who are qualified, certified to drive, and they're just, it's really not an easy solution to it.
That is another requirement now. I know just anybody can drive them at one time.
I mean, I know we had problems when I retired in 2010, just in a small town like Enterprise.
By the way, we did Enterprise High School.
I remember that. Mr. Skipper and I are familiar with each other.
Mr. Skipper, when you did the circulation study, and let's assume you did, the essence of it is like it sits today for At what point does it cross over between being a typical circulation study based upon what's going on right now, and you do the car count, bus count, kid count, and all that business, and versus when you have a catastrophic event, so that the people who kids normally would ride on the bus home that afternoon, all of a sudden they're screaming towards the school to try to pick their kid up because they're getting off a snow day.
I remember that not long ago, yes. An event is an event, unfortunately. It's hard to plan for that. It doesn't, it's not a bad idea to go ahead and put a plan in for events for all of your campuses. I know the Brubaker campus that I mentioned down in Montgomery that we just finished and opened and got everything finished on it. One of the problems with it was a single access, and one of the things they were worried about was lockdown, emergency vehicle access, that sort of thing. So what we ended up doing is we didn't have another way to get into the campus, so what we did is we built, I call it multi-purpose bike and ped paths that could sustain emergency vehicles on both sides of the road. We're using the sidewalks and bike lanes, and in those emergencies you can use them. You got to do some thinking like that. So having a plan for an event, I'm sure each one of your principals and your schools has a plan in place for handling emergencies. You've got to have this as a companion to go with it.
And I think it's much bigger than just that. I mean, it requires somebody like you as an example, because to me, I mean, you take Hoover High School as an example, the number of cars that would show up on campus to pick up kids that typically ride the bus just clutters up the bus transportation. And so having a strategic plan ahead of it said, okay, boys and girls, parents, rather, you can't go beyond this point until we get, that kind of thing.
I do know a couple of schools that we were involved in. I've got a granddaughter that goes to Hewitt High School, and she was a student during the event last year. And the worry they had and the worry you have is, as dangerous as the roads were, turning that many, 16, 17, 18-year-old kids loose on the road when it's icy and it's dangerous. And they made the decision not to allow any of the children to go to their cars. They had to be picked up by the parents, which you probably did also. That was in your plan. That's pretty tough. What they ended up doing is they had a couple of large churches nearby that they'd already developed as staging areas. Hoover High School and also at the elementary out there, you're fortunate to have the Hoover Met close by that could be used for that particular purpose as a staging area. So you've got to have those type things in mind.
Any other questions for Mr. Skipper?
Ms. Fraser, I think this information will be invaluable as you assess where you're at and where you're going, but make sure there's no misunderstanding. There's no present plan at this point to discontinue busing. Everything is on hold, given our commitment to the federal court and to the parties that are looking at unitary status. So I hope no one will go away with any vague notion that we're revisiting doing away with transportation at the present time.
That's a good point, Mr. Sweeney.
And this was just due diligence on the board's part back in 2013, and we're just cleaning it up. That's what we're doing, finishing it up.
Thank you, Dr. Reese.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for the work.
Thank you, welcome.
I'd just like to add that, for those of you who don't know, Darrell Skipper is the expert in the state of Alabama, in my opinion, in these types of studies. And he works all over the state. Those of us who live off US 280, we can blame him for it. No, he helped with the traffic study out there, and he and I have talked about that and what all went into that. But he has worked all over the state of Alabama and is asked to do work by not only many school systems, but business ministries. Darrell, it was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you. Look forward to the next one.
So are we getting a flyover on 280? Because I do live on 280.
Well, what I'd like for the school board to do is just allocate another $30 million in next year's budget and give it to DOT, and we'll get it there. That was my #1 recommendation on 280, was to build the flyover.
Mr. Skipper, I think
Yes,
Mr. Lyda's here, and he could help with that 30 million.
We'll look for anybody to stroke a check for that much.
Thank you, Mr. Skipper.
Thank you.
Dr. Reese, do you have anything else tonight? Gentlemen, is there any new business? Do we have any public participation tonight? Robin?
I'm Robin Schultz, I live on Albemarle Drive. Dr. Reese, thank you for having that report brought up. Would it be possible to have that report posted on the school board website so that everybody can take a look at it?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, very good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes, sir?
I'm Dan Fulton, a retired teacher. I live in Bluff Park. Dr. Reese, before you came here, I proposed that, and Mr. Light is here, I believe, that the city of Hoover raise their sales tax a penny, and that would bring it in line with the other communities similar to ours, such as, well, most communities, including Trustwell and other areas like that, Gardendale, Clay, those communities where the demographics are very similar. If the city of Hoover did that, and they can do that with 4 votes of the city council, 4 votes, Mr. Light, doesn't require a referendum, extra penny, that would bring in about $20 million additional a year. And I had asked that it go to the schools. I've kind of changed my thoughts on that. Mr. Skipper gave a presentation to the city council about all the D-rated streets in Hoover. And Dr. Reese gave a presentation on safety, school safety. Now, when we do the $20 million, Mr. Lyda, I would go along with half of that going to getting some of these streets straightened out. Maybe the state can help us on that, but the city will put in maybe another $10 million, and let's get some of these D streets improved, because these buses and all the people going to school, they're having to fight these streets, Acton Road and some of the others, Rocky Ridge and so forth, and make some improvements, straighten out some of those streets. 4-lane, Mr. President Wright, Councilor Wright, proposed 4-laning South Shades Crest, held up a development that many people might have benefited from, but there were traffic problems. That was the holdup, and the city council could not improve it because of all those terrible traffic problems on South Shades Crest. 4-lane that road, and we probably have solved that problem. Made it easier for people to get to school, and also for Walmart to set up a neighborhood market. So that was my proposal, and I know it takes some courage for people to vote in taxes, but I kind of go along with Governor Bentley that sometimes, you know, there are priorities, and we just have to pony up. Yes, sir.
Something to watch for, the Jefferson County 1-cent sales tax is being amortized at a much quicker rate than it was originally anticipated, and is expected to potentially be paid off in maybe 3 years, probably 4 or 5 years.
Right.
But once that thing's paid off, assuming nothing changes with what's going on with the county currently, assuming that thing's paid off, Hoover would not have to do anything in terms of sales tax, and would have that penny.
Well, but they'd have to add it because.
Yeah, but it'd be easier to absorb.
You're right.
For people to adjust to.
Right. Now, also on this proposal, Mr. Smith had mentioned a sunset. I would not object to a sunset if we did 3 or 4 years of $20 million a year. That would be a tremendous help for the school system if they took half of it and then put half of it into street improvement. The street improvement would impact the schools too, because, as I said, because of the traffic going to and from school. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Any other participation tonight? Yes, sir.
I've got my ball. My name is Dustin Chandler. If anybody wants to know where I live in Inverness Point, off Highway 280. They need to do more reports on that road, and they need to keep doing them. I brought to your attention last month, I'm actually here for a progress report on a covered drop-off for our special needs kids at Trace Crossings. I'm probably going to get a little emotional tonight because I brought pictures, and I'm going to tell you who I'm standing up here fighting for. I'm fighting for this girl. This one. Can everybody see that? This daughter. That's who I fight for. Her and her friends. And I'm going to pass this around just where everybody can get a look. Because you got several pictures coming. That's my daughter Carly. I just want to give you a little background on her. She cannot walk, talk, feed herself. She will be in diapers the rest of her life. Okay? That is something I've had to accept. It's tough for me as a dad. I've accepted it. God's put her here for a reason. I not only fight for her, she is my number one priority. I also fight for my other two kids who are typical, thank the Lord, Colton and Courtney. But I also speak up for those that may not want to speak up, and that's the several hundred, if not thousands, of families in Alabama and in our great city of Hoover that have special needs kids. We go to Trace Crossings because we did our research. We actually moved into Inverness Point where we could send my son probably to Greystone if we decide to go to public schools. And we did our research on special ed schools, and Trace Crossings came up. I've had no complaints with the teachers there. They do a great job. The one complaint I do have is the drop-off for my daughter and all the special needs kids and typical children that are in pre-K. Excuse me. And I'm going to pass these pictures around, and these are the exact pictures that came today from my cell phone as it was pouring down rain. And I will pass them around. That is the entrance as we come in to drop our kids off, and if everybody wants to see, that's our entrance with a dumpster right there. We go to the back of the school. No problem. Got no problem going to wherever the school needs us to go. And that's the first picture I'd like for everybody to look at. This is just another angle for everybody to see. Yet again, another angle. It might be the same one that I printed twice. This is what we have to drop off in, that we have to consider covered drop off and a rainy day as we have today.
Can you pass those if you want?
Sure, I will. Sure. And they're going to keep coming. I'll get about 3 more. This is as you approach to drop off your child. That's what we have to drop off our special needs kids and the pre-K kids. They could be typical. I think there's a good mixture. But that's the gap from the cover. And this next picture is what really bothers me. And I hope it bothers everybody in this room. 50 years ago, I believe it was a March to Selma, I believe it was. I actually went to the Birmingham Civil Rights Museum in Birmingham by myself. It was me, God, and history. I encourage everybody in this room to go to that Civil Rights Museum. I encourage everybody to go to the 16th Street Baptist Church where 4 girls died. And if that doesn't move you, I don't know what will. But I went down there. The main reason we had such a struggle in our country was for equal rights. It was for equality. We are fighting for equality for special needs kids and our typical kids in this situation for equality. It may not be on the same level as back in the civil rights movement, but it is for equality. In that museum, excuse me, in that museum, there's a quote that says, "What are we doing to make the world a better place? What are you doing to make the world a better place?" Having a child being dropped off in the rain off a school bus in a wheelchair who cannot fend for themselves or stand up in the rain is not acceptable. That is not equality. And this happened this afternoon. The same rain that I walked through, I don't know if anybody saw me, they were probably laughing. I was dripping wet coming from my truck, which is sitting about 50 feet from the door just into this building. The same rain that will snarl traffic on all of our roadways is what our special needs kids are being dropped off in, and our typical pre-K kids. This is it. This was today, 2:30 this afternoon.
So buses travel in this direction right here? So it's not
Correct.
just cars,
Yeah, in
buses.
fact, we must pull where you see the puddles, right there where your right index finger was, where these puddles are to the right. We have to line up along the side there in the
Left side
mud.
of it, so the buses
Yeah, in the
go
mud.
down.
So when a full-size bus, and I'll send you video, when a full-size bus comes in, they're very close to our cars.
Right.
We don't think they're going to hit us, but they are very close. You've got to get a full-size bus, and I believe it's another smaller bus in there to pick up the students, just in that little roundabout. Now, when we talk about equality, that's all I'm asking. I'm just asking for help. I asked for help back last month, and I'm just asking for help now. And when we talk about equality, if we can consciously say as a society that those pictures that you're looking at there are the same as this next one, then we've got a problem with both of our definitions of equality. Because this is what the rest of the school after pre-K drops off in. Right there. Nice, neat, overhang, drop off. Which can be done for this child in the wheelchair. I don't know who that is. I don't know if their parents know that that's taking place. Because I don't contact them. But that to me, the first 5 or 6 photos that you guys have seen, and then this last one, to me as a parent and as a taxpayer and as really as a God-fearing human being, that is not equality. And that's all we're asking for. I'm just asking, and I'm just here for a progress report. There may have been progress made, but the lack of communication causes angst and it causes fear if you're not communicated with. I believe me and Mr. Presley had an email exchange back and forth, which was on March 11th, and that was really the last update I really had. So I'm just here asking for a report. I'm really asking to have covered drop-off for these kids in the back of that school. There's no sense in having kids being rained on. It's not the big deal. My wife came in, to give you another example. My wife came home Monday, this past, I guess it was a Monday, what's today? I don't even know. 13th. The previous Monday, she came home telling me the experience she had at Trace Crossings again when it was raining. So we pulled up to drop off Carly for her day at school. The aides, the teacher aides, are wonderful. You're really not supposed to get out of your vehicle and assist the aides with your children getting out of their car. A lot of times we do because Carly can't hold on, but we try to stay in the best we can. Amy, my wife, stayed inside the vehicle. It was raining. The teacher aide came out with an umbrella. That's the only cover that they have. With a big umbrella with one hand, coming to my daughter's car seat to take my daughter out of my wife's car. And again, my daughter cannot use her hands. She cannot use her legs. She does not wrap her legs around your hip like a typical child would, like my son or my other daughter. She can't hold on to you. And a lot of times with her condition, she'll lurch backwards. And she'll do her hands. The teacher aide had to put down the umbrella, get my child, get Carly out of the vehicle. We bring hopefully to help the teacher aide out. We will bring a stroller because really Carly needs to be in her wheelchair, which is very heavy. But the wheelchair is supposed to be there, and she's got to get her out of the car, put her in the child seat with it raining. Getting wet is not the issue. I mean, that's a big issue. But when you pick up my daughter, and if that teacher aide drops my daughter, having to worry about rain, putting down her umbrella, getting her in her seat, my daughter, without a doubt, 100%, will be severely injured if she's dropped. She can't brace herself. She's got no defense mechanism. So I am asking again, please bring equality to our children and our school system and allow some covered drop-off. I do know that somebody came out and measured, I believe, and that's progress, and there could be more progress to give. I do not know. Hopefully there is. And the other thing that really disturbed me, and I will end it with this. Last school board meeting that was at Spain Park, because it makes sense to me that if it's thunderstorming outside and it's raining, that we could just drop off our kids at the front of the school just like everybody else. That would make sense to me if it calls for that. An excuse were made by the administrator that we couldn't do that because their poor little legs can't walk from the front of the school to their back of their school. And that administrator is sitting in this room, and she knows who she is. And I will, with all due respect, I would give my own legs and my life right now in front of everybody if my daughter had the sensation to use her legs. That's how serious I take it. And I want equality, I just want action, and I'm asking the board for help. And I hope there is a good progress report. And I'm all ears. I want to be a part of the solution, not a part of the problem, and that's what I'm here for.
I want to first say Mr. Chandler has a beautiful young lady. She is an outstanding young lady. We have many handicapped children come into our schools, not just the children who go to our preschool program. There are several children in our school who ride buses, dropped off in the front of the school, wheelchairs, whether they're carpooled or they're bus students. So yes, we do have some challenges. The preschool teachers requested that the children be dropped off in the back of the building. That's not a quality or an inequality issue. It was for convenience for the children and for the parents. At any point in time, I can change that. I can change it tomorrow morning. If the majority of the teachers and the parents felt that it would be better for the children to be dropped off in the front of the bus or the front of the school, that's easy to do. After the last board meeting, I immediately went back to Trace Crossings. There is an awning. I also called Mr. Battles from our operations department. Mr. Battles has been out, he's looked at it. At one point, we had a higher canopy back there. It was demolished by buses, by delivery trucks, and it was decided not to put that big canopy back in because when the big canopy is there, the wind is such that it doesn't do any good in terms of the rain anyhow. Now I also want to clarify because Mr. Chandler made the statement that there's inequality between the front and the back of the building in terms of the drop-off and the delivery of children. The children who are dropped off in the front of the bus are not completely covered, or in front of the school are not completely covered when they get off the bus, or when they get off carpool. Just like in the back of the building, we have umbrellas. When it's raining like it was today, if we have a handicapped child, yes, a teacher or an aide will take an umbrella out and try to cover while that handicapped child gets off the bus or gets out of the car, whether that's in front or in back. I want you, the board members, to understand if it's in the best interest of our children, and if the teachers felt it was in the best interest of the children and the parents, that we have drop-off in the front of the school, if that were more of an equality issue, we can do that. We can do that tomorrow morning, in fact. But it's not in the best interest, we feel, as the educators and the people who are there with the children each day, to have them dropped off in the front. It puts all of the preschool children in the same carpool with all the rest of the children. It would be with all the rest of the cars and the buses. It would be extremely, those buses that are coming for the handicapped classroom in the back, the preschool children, they have to go to a lot of other schools. It's imperative that those buses get out as quickly as possible. If they're in the front, they're in the regular bus line, and of course we have to load all the buses, so they are going to be stopped and have to hold until we can dismiss all the buses in the morning or in the afternoon. Same thing with the carpool. If the parent is in the carpool line with all the rest of the carpool parents are going to be very frustrated, as well as it's really more dangerous for the children because we have to load the kid, have to carry the kid, lift the child. Now, we have children in the front of the building who are in wheelchairs or who have special needs, and we have to load and unload them. We do it every day, every morning, every afternoon. If that's I will discuss it again with the teachers. If that's what the teachers feel is best for the children, we'll do it. Mr. Battles is aware of the situation. He's looking at it. He's reviewing it. I spoke with him yesterday about, where he was in that process, and he said he's continuing to review it. Again, his question though really is, do we go back with a large canopy, a higher canopy? Because in the past when we've had that, it has not been effective, and it's not prevented the rain from hitting the kids or the teachers anyhow, even though it was there, because it's too high. If you're going to make it high enough for buses to get underneath it, it's too high, and it doesn't protect the kids from the wind and the rain and the elements of that sort. I understand the concern of parents. I understand the concern of Mr. Chandler. I too feel for the children. And when he says he's going to get emotional, I probably am pretty emotional also, because not once has Mr. Chandler talked to me about this. Not once. I will do whatever I can to remedy that situation at our school. That's my job. It's my responsibility. I'll work with whomever I need to work with to remedy the situation. But I can't remedy this situation if I don't know what the problem is. Do you have, board members, do you have questions of me?
Ms. Barber, where's the pictures? This bus is not coming under this canopy, is it?
No, ma'am. None of our buses come under canopy, front or back of the school.
Okay.
And the children in the front of the school get out of the bus and out of the cars and have a distance. Some of our buses have to wind all the way down the front entranceway. That particular bus is close to the canopy. We have some buses that go all the way down the side of the front of the street. They're not even close to the canopy. The children in the back are a lot closer to the canopy than are the children in the front of the school.
Well, that's what I was going to say, and I understand what you're talking about. The canopy is so tall, that's not going to affect these small children down here.
When the canopy is so high, the wind blows and it doesn't protect the child from getting wet if it's real high, no matter how big that canopy is going to be, unless you have an actual garage or kind of carport area that you're going through.
This door here is where they come out, correct, right now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. Is there not a way to add something similar to this?
There is one
Outside
there.
where the bus could pull right beside it, kind of like what it does on the front there?
They pull up right next to it. They pull up in front of it right now.
Okay.
Here's where the canopy comes out. There's a better picture of it here. This is a canopy.
Okay.
And the bus goes right up here to stop. So they're coming right out beneath this canopy. So the bus stops right here.
Okay. Okay. Mr.
Yes.
Chandler, do you understand that this bus is
I
not?
fully understand that, yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
You understand what they're saying
yes.
with?
I sure do.
Okay.
And if you will refer to the other picture of the child being dropped off in a wheelchair.
Yeah, let me ask you this question.
Go ahead.
You did make a statement that the cars will have to get to the left wing, and the buses will go to the right, which would make the buses in close proximity to the entrance.
Correction, the cars, as you see that white SUV,
Uh-huh.
that's where the cars will line up. The buses will swing in between the cars in that grass, right there in the mud, right there to the left of
Right
that
here.
picture. To the left, far left.
But the children aren't in the mud. The bus, that path there where the buses drive on, that is muddy. That's where the buses come through to pull up to that canopy area. But at no time are the children out there in that muddy area.
But I guess what I'm asking, is it a different linear line between the buses and the cars? I guess are the cars further away?
No, actually, the cars, as you see that car sitting right there, it will pull up, and usually we pull up as close as we can.
So it's closer
to
to the
that.
actual buses?
At some point, if the buses get there first, they're there first.
The picture right here, if this canopy was extended further down the building, that would sure help.
Sure, and that would be great. I'm just asking for a little bit of cover.
Right.
The cars are lined around here.
Because as we see on that Ms. Frazier is holding, that child has no cover at all. And I would argue that if you...
Ms. Barber, can I see that? maybe, can we keep these?
Absolutely.
Maybe you show this one.
Except for the one with my wife and child.
And if this canopy, the same distance out, because it can't come out any further, would just come down this way, that would allow more room rather than just the 5-foot sidewalk that's
Yeah,
there.
but part of it is how these buses pull in also, because like in the morning when there's not traffic back here, they pull in closer to that campus. In the afternoon when because the cars get there early, they'll be there before children are dismissed. So the cars are lined. So in the afternoon, the buses pull in kind of in front of the parents. So part of it's a timing issue also, because in the morning they pull in right by the canopy, but in the afternoon it's usually perfect.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Can I say 2 more things, please? I'm sorry, and I know I'm taking up everybody's dinner time. This was brought to the attention of Miss Barber last month, and the excuse was she's never heard it before. And I don't know what goes on before I came to Trace Crossing, so she was aware of it for at least a month. Secondly, I spoke to another aide this morning as I was taking pictures and asked again to make sure I did not have misinformation how long this has been going on, and at least for 3 years, probably for 7. So the notion of trying to wait until see if we redistrict schools flies out the window with that. Also, I asked that teacher's aide, which will remain nameless in this situation, have you guys as teacher aides ever asked for any cover out here since there is no cover? And they said, and this is, I will give you her name if you want to contact her, but not right here. They've asked several times. That's per the teacher aide. And it has never gone anywhere per their request. So I just wanted to make sure that was clear that I did ask teacher's aide. I've asked how far up. And actually I did try to get with Rebecca Crow today. She left at actually 11:35 on the sign-out sheet. I could not get in touch with her, and I believe Carol Barber was in a meeting when I tried to get in touch today. I had a meeting at 1 and I couldn't chase her administrator. So I just want a resolution. Good idea. I want to be a part of the solution and try to help you guys out, find a way for the bestest for our community and all of our kids.
You just say we can keep this?
Sure.
Okay.
If that helps you out.
Okay.
Let's talk just 1 second or a few seconds about
Sure.
this. I know rain is predicted the rest of this week. I don't know if it'll be raining the time you drop off your child or not, but Carol, is there something we can do, have a plan for the rest of this week until we can put our heads together as far as the drop-off and pickup for the rest of this week? Can you?
Mr. Chandler can drop his daughter off in front of school tomorrow. It's not a problem.
Is that a?
Yeah, that's fine. And listen, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, if we can just address it for the immediate need, and I'm no weatherman, as everybody knows. If we can find address this immediate for the rest of this week, give us a little bit of time, and it may be, I don't know if anything can be constructed, in the next few weeks or not, but at least have a solution to get us by through the end of this year. And then if we were going to do something in the summer, we could do that.
Sure. And I want to make sure that it's very clear, especially to the audience, this is not just for my daughter. This is for all kids that are dropped off there.
We would certainly make that available. I think Carol would make that available.
Sure. And I would like to also point out, we got to consult with parents. I understand we all are worried about the system. Our parents and the kids are who we should consult with first. That's my opinion, and that's who we serve, are the parents and the children. Worry about them, and then move forward from there and get their opinions. But I really appreciate you giving the open forum to talk. I appreciate all the good work that y'all done for the city schools. And I'm also going to give a shout out to Sergeant Mike Hardy. Our police officers have gotten a lot of heat lately, but our police officers at Hoover and our schools specifically, he does a wonderful job. I know him personally, and everybody needs to thank that man, the good job that he does for our schools. And again, thank you for your time, and thank you for your consideration on fixing this problem for all our kids.
Thank you. Any other public participation tonight? If not, tomorrow night, the Alabama Association of School Boards Search Committee will reveal the superintendent finalist. We will be meeting at Spain Park High School at 5:30 in the theater. There's no other thing for tonight, then this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.